Hello, everyone. Allison here. I wanted to do a pop-up training workshop today on how to get sales as soon as possible. I feel like that's one of the biggest questions I've had in the last couple of weeks, more so than normal. People who just want to know, like, how do I get sales tomorrow in 2 weeks? And the way that you get sales tomorrow is not the way that you always get sales in your business. So it's a really important question to ask, even though you might think like, well, I want to get sales ASAP all the time. Normally in our business, we're operating based off of consistency and filling the pipeline. So your marketing for getting sales as soon as possible is a little bit different than getting sales like whenever, filling the pipeline, trying to get a full client roster. And today we're going to talk about that and hopefully answer some of your guys' questions. And so if you want to know how to do that, then just keep watching. Okay, so very, very quickly, because I like really clean replays, I'm going to share this video to my Facebook group. So if you're here, then just say hello. Let me know that everything is working. And again, I'm going to make this go really, really fast so that people can find me because I'm going live on my page today instead of my group. And let me know how are you guys doing and what questions do you have today? I have a lot that I want to share with you just based on, I'm just going to kind of go through today, like the actual clients that I've had, not their names, but like what are the actual questions they have. And then if I get questions, I can kind of contextualize from there. But yeah, we'll just get started. Okay, just shared that. So how do you get sales as soon as possible? Does that work? Are we doing ASMR? How good is my microphone? Let me know in the comments. So how do you get sales as soon as possible? It is different trying to get sales as soon as possible than it is trying to get sales like whenever. Thank you, Brittany. Brittany says, my camera quality is amazing, so pro. Yeah, my husband got me this camera and I just started using it this year or last year. So when we think about, I'm going to give you guys a few different examples based on whether you are a content creator or a service provider. And if you have specific businesses, again, the more you can just give me context to respond to, the more I can make this training relevant to the people who are here live. But I want to be talking about one of my clients who's a content creator and has a membership and a course, and one client who is a coach, and one client who is an author. I'm going to be talking about those three different situations. And I do have champagne. It's funny because the last two trainings I've done, I was drinking champagne, and I've actually been drinking a lot less than I used to before I started drinking in my lives again. So cheers if you are having a gin and tonic during this Generate Sales training. I am having champagne and not gin and tonic. So let's first talk. Let me just go through these examples of like, one client says, I need to get sales as soon as possible. How does that actually happen? And I'll compare that with how they normally get sales. So the first example, which is the easiest to talk about, is my client who has courses and memberships. And the primary way that she's grown her business is by doing bundles and summits, which are examples of audience borrowing. If you don't know what bundles and summits are, basically, and they're not the same thing, and they have a lot of differences, but a bundle is a collection of courses, ebooks, products. You can put together a bundle of your own products, or there could be a bundle that's created from a bunch of other people's products and it includes yours. When you have a product in a bundle like that, it's great for growing your email list. You can also get sales from it. You can also get a lot of sales from it. But a primary way to be a part of having your product in somebody else's bundle is to grow your audience. And then summits are, I think you guys know what summits are. So summit is when a bunch of people get together and talk and speak on different topics. A bundle could be a bundle of your own products, whereas I don't know if you'd have a summit if it was just you talking. That'd kind of be a lot. Maybe not though. So this client primarily grows her list through bundles and summits. What she does is, here's a gift or here's the offer I'm putting in the bundle. And then on the thank you page, they get what's called a tripwire. So tripwire is a low cost offer, a one-time offer, and it's meant to motivate people to take action. So when I first launched my membership, the Abundant Entrepreneur Experience, I made it a tripwire where I said, this is just $1 and then $33 a month. that's a great price for a tripwire because it's like, oh, dang, I may not ever see $1 again. I can cancel anytime. So that's tripwire. So primarily, this client has grown her offers through tripwires, where she participates in bundles and summits, and then people get in on a tripwire and they just continue on. The great thing about the way that she consistently gets clients is that she doesn't have to launch. She works like 10 hours a week. I might ask her if I can just reveal her information. I didn't ask her beforehand, but if you guys may want to know who she is. She works 10 hours a week. So very little effort besides just finding those bundles and summits and then filling up the paid offers that she has. The downside is she's not used to consistently like, oh, I need more money. Let me go find more money. Because she's grown her income like this, where like a lot of us kind of grow it like this, right? We have like these ups and downs. So when you grow when you grow your income only with lower cost memberships, you kind of create like a more stable base for your business. Anyway, so that's the upside to her business is it's been consistent. It's grown consistently over time. It's pretty easy for her to deliver. She doesn't work that much. The downside is she wasn't sure what lever to pull when she was like, oh shit, I need to make some money. And in a fast period of time. She's not in the habit of doing market research and leveraging this huge email list that she's buying. And so when it was like, how do we make money as soon as possible? The answer for me, if you've got a list of 5,000 people that you haven't launched to since 2020, the answer to me is we need to launch. Well, what is a launch? A launch is a series of emails that are selling something where there's a hard deadline. The hard deadline could be a bonus expiring, a discount, whatever. And she hadn't launched in a long time. That meant that people who were in her membership that had lapsed weren't getting a re-engagement campaign. That meant that people who bought the membership may not have had opportunities to buy other things in a long time. So that was low-hanging fruit. How do we get money as soon as possible? Launch something to your existing audience and email list. Is this resonating? Because that kind of sounds like a no-brainer answer, except for I can think of other people who have large lists. And another client of mine, I've made a post in my Facebook group last week about if you have 10,000 followers on Instagram and you're not making full-time income, or especially if you're not making any money at all, there's a disconnect. And she's already a paying client of mine. We've been focused on growing another one of her offers, but she messaged me and she was like, I need to be making money from this rogue Instagram account I created that has like 20,000 followers on it. And so we look at low-hanging fruit for her. This is another example of low-hanging fruit for a different niche. So this niche is in foraging and homesteading. She's got 20,000 followers on Instagram and she's not making any money at all. How big is the email list for that brand? Not very big at all. Okay, so we're not going to probably launch. We can launch to the email list. It's like 150 people. We can do that. But because it's 150 people and not 5,000 people, the opportunity is smaller. And so, okay, we've got 20,000 followers, not really an email list to speak of. This person also has a full-time job. So how can we leverage these 20,000 followers to make money in a way that's really easy for her? Well, you know what's really easy for her? And this is why she keeps going viral on this account on Instagram, is reels about homesteading and foraging and herbalism. So the easiest way for her to monetize that audience, to create a subscription on Instagram. Normally, this is not my first recommendation. I don't know that much about creating subscriptions on Instagram, but if it's just it's additional gated content that people pay monthly for. If that's the easiest thing for her to do, then we need to launch a subscription on additional foraging videos for Instagram that cost money every month. That's easier for her because she doesn't have an email list. So let's talk about another kind of case study. So another case study. So let's talk about an author that I was working with recently. So this author, she makes money by selling books, but most of the time when you are an author, you're not going to make a ton of money selling the books in and of themselves. If you're an author who's making a ton of money with your books, just comment down below. But usually authors make money from opportunities they get because of the books. So speaking engagements, could be audience growth, email list, selling products that way, could be blog traffic. But usually the biggest thing is speaking for authors. And so this client asked me, well, how do I make money as soon as possible? So we've been working together on a bunch of evergreen ways to make more money. So creating funnels, more passive offers, growing our email list. And then she asked, kind of in the middle of our coaching agreement, how do I make money as soon as possible? Well, that answer is different than how do I create passive income? The way forward in this case was leveraging a higher paying opportunity that required more direct connection. So when we think about marketing, when I think about marketing, I always think about, and this is because of a conversation I had with my colleague, Greg Faxon from gregfaxon.com. But he and I worked together, and he introduced this idea of hunting versus gardening. We talked about this when we were talking about some of our shared clients, hunting versus gardening when it comes to marketing. Hunting in your business is you proactively going out and looking for sales. So you might be DMing people your lead magnet. And we'll talk more about hunting in a little bit. Whereas gardening is like the things you're doing to get people, it's attraction marketing. So attraction marketing, it takes some time to develop. Attraction marketing is when people are coming to you. So we have the hunting phase of our business, and then we have the attraction marketing phase of our business. Obviously, everybody wants to get leads and sales through attraction marketing. Very few of us want to actually hunt. But if you want sales in the short term, you have to do more hunting. And so this client had a higher ticket offer where when it came to, okay, I've been wanting to make more passive income, we're doing that this way. But now I just want to make more money as much as possible, regardless of alignment. Well, now I'm going to start, then she's going to focus more on B2B in her case. So she had a B2C component to her business and a B2B component to her business. When it came to making money in aligned fun ways, it was all about B2C passive income. When it came to making more money as soon as possible, regardless of alignment, we're going to start hunting for more corporate opportunities because those are paying more money, and you can just DM a bunch of people on LinkedIn. DMing a bunch of people on LinkedIn will work. It works especially well for this person because they have authority because of the book that they wrote. Hello, Tori. Good to see you. Is this making sense? And so when we're talking about making money ASAP, it's very different from how you're going to make money consistently because it's likely not sustainable. Here's another example of making money ASAP. I had another client who she gets most of her sales through referrals. And when it came to making money ASAP, we're looking at these other opportunities. So she's got local networking groups. She doesn't have a lead magnet yet. So we're like, well, we need to work on a lead magnet so you can stop having to look at how to make sales ASAP because it's not sustainable. But for her, because most of her sales come from referrals, she remembered a time in the past when she reached out to a bunch of past clients and offered them free sessions and or referral fees in exchange for saying, do you know anyone else who might need this type of coaching? And that got her clients. Now, again, that's such a great example of how getting money ASAP is very different from getting money all the time, because you can't just keep reaching out to clients all the time and saying, I'll pay you referral fees. When I coached her on this, I realized I've actually never done that before. So I reached out to probably 5 recent one-on-one clients, and I was like, hey, if you know someone. I also had a wait list until like February for coaching. So now that I have more availability, I'm creating more things. So we've talked about author, we've talked about blog course creator, talked about the coach. And what questions do you guys have who are here? So and we may not get questions that come in. I see like 5 people watching. We've had people hopping on and off. I don't expect people to have questions, but if you do have them, it's always helpful. I want to talk a little bit now about like what I'm doing a little bit differently because I'm feeling a shift. And I think it's really important. The language that we use around changes in the market is really important because I want to always avoid fear mongering because I think it's inaccurate and unhelpful. And I read a really good post today where when people are kind of freaked out in the market, so when big changes or when any kind of change happens in the market, there's usually an opportunity. So for example, for a long time, it was super easy to be successful with Facebook ads. Let me know if you ever launched a Facebook ad when you barely knew what you were doing and you were able to get a bunch of opt-ins. And I did Facebook ads in corporate, so I know what I'm doing. But when it came to running my own Facebook ads, it felt like it felt pretty easy to just kind of like spin something up. And in fact, my first month over 30K in sales was when I was running like a $10 a day budget with a Facebook ad to get leads in. And not that all of those $34,000 in sales came from $300 in advertising, but it certainly did help having visibility and new people come into my audience. So when the Facebook algorithm changed, when they said, when the iOS changes happened, I should say, not the Facebook algorithm, when the iOS changes happened for Facebook ads, a lot of lazy advertisers got kind of temporarily cut out of the market because the game had changed and it wasn't easy anymore. And since then, we kind of figured out new ways. There's been some adaptations because of iOS, but it's still harder than it was before. And so just know that when these changes happen, it can be a huge opportunity. Now that ChatGPT is out and there's a million bajillion AI tools coming out and people are doing all these trainings about AI, that's a huge opportunity to think there's two things you can think of. How can I leverage AI now to save time in my business? And what can I do to make sure that what I create is differentiated from AI? Those are the two safeguards that I see. It's like, let me not be someone, because I'm a blogger and a lot of bloggers are using AI, let me not be someone that just poo-poos on it and misses out on the opportunity. Let me go ahead and leverage it so I can get more content out while it's still interesting, like not interesting, but I'm wondering if content creation and the whole game around content will change because of AI. So let me get some really great content out leveraging AI while it's still an opportunity. And let me make sure that my content is good enough to where I don't feel like it will become irrelevant if too many people are writing with AI. If I just generate a 2,000 word article and it's all AI content, there's a really good chance I suspect, and other people suspect who are experts in our industry, you'll be at a disadvantage, right? Yeah. Brittany said search and SEO are already changing, and that will always change. ChatGPT, AI copywriting is not the first time that we've been impacted by some kind of change in the algorithm or in how the internet works. Another example of this that's like a little bit less intimidating, but still affected a lot of people was reviews. When Google said, like, review articles, roundup kind of posts, really great for affiliate content. But they changed to where they are now ranking and prioritizing review articles that have personal experiences and photos. I think that's a good change. And it negatively impacted a ton of people. So when you see changes in the market like AI, how can you leverage that and how can you differentiate? And so then backing up even more, thinking like people are kind of like freaked out in the market right now. And the way that buyers buy is changing. I don't totally understand this, but like I don't totally understand how we're going to be impacted by the market or how buyers buying is changing, but I'm seeing it in my clients are seeing it in their clients, where people need more touch points. Like I would say, I think almost every single sales call I've had this year was talking to 3 or 4 other coaches. That's different than years past where they might talk to another one, but it was very different than like having me on a list of paper with 4 other people comparing notes. And that's different and that's okay. So how can I rise above that? What was my point in saying that? I heard a great piece of advice today from Taylor Welch, who started a new brand. He's a former coach of mine. And he said, are you guys familiar of red oceans and blue oceans? So red oceans are markets that are very saturated and crowded. So for example, if you say like a lifestyle blogger, that's like very generic, lots of people, hard to differentiate. If you say something like trauma-informed life coach, that's very specific, right? So you go from being a red ocean with a bunch of sharks fighting against each other to a blue ocean where there's fewer people. And so this creator that I read this morning, Taylor Welch, said something about purple oceans, where there's this opportunity now where, just like with Facebook ads and iOS, a lot of lazy people, and me being one of them, so don't feel bad about me using the word lazy, but a lot of lazy people kind of got shut out of having successful Facebook ads because they couldn't compete with the sophisticated changes for a while. And now kind of the same thing will happen, where some people are not able to adapt to their market. And so we kind of have these spaces where previously they were a little bit more competitive, where we may be seeing less of that competition, or we might be seeing red oceans where adaptation is needed, where a lot of people in the red ocean are not adapting, but you know how to. And so some examples of how I'm using that information. One of the suggestions was thinking about how to like fracture your offers, which I thought was interesting. So, and I don't know, like, this is all such conjecture to say, like, fracturing your offers is the way to survive market changes in 2023. There's just, we won't know for 5 years. Like what actually happened in this market. Like we're not going to know next year or the year after. Maybe we will, but this is such conjecture, and I thought it was interesting. So knowing that like people are taking longer to make decisions, that's part of why I wanted to do free live workshops every single month. Just give people a taste of seeing me. And I also think it was interesting having just created a new offer where I created a new offer that was like, it's a coaching offer that's the same price as my other coaching offers, but it's a tiny little offer. It's just 2 calls to do one thing. So it's a lower taste of what I'm doing for a very specific goal. It's called the system sprint. So we could work together over 6 months to create and grow your offer and see how far we get. Or we can just strategize and implement a lead magnet over 2 calls or less. And you just have a project that's done. So regardless of whether you like ROI with me or not as a business coach, you have an asset that you've created that's tangible. And so that's something I would do in a larger coaching offer that you can now do in a smaller offer. So thinking about fracturing offers, how could we leverage that to not reinvent what we're doing or sell more things, but make it more bite-sized for different parts of our market that are moving slower. I can think of an example, and I don't know if my client will watch this or not. I don't even know if I would encourage you to do this. So if you're watching this, let's talk about it before you take this idea. But I just want to give an example of like, okay, if I was a Facebook ads manager and I wanted to like fracture my offer, maybe I could do an intensive for people who already have a Facebook ads manager where I can look at their Facebook ads and tell them what they could be doing. So for $300, I'll audit your existing Facebook ad account as long as you have ads currently running, and I'll tell you what's wrong with it. You could also do that for free, but I'm wondering if you could fracture the offer, do it as a mini offer, and then apply that cost. Let's say you do that intensive for $300, apply that cost to working with you as a Facebook ads agency if they decide to sign up. Brittany said, I started offering one-off calls and I've had some success with those. Yeah, I've had one-off calls in the past, and you can probably find them as well. If I get a sales call though, and they say they want to do one call, I more often than not will say no, because most of the sales calls I get, I'm already like, there's too many things you have to do. I feel like that would be a disservice. Why don't you just wait until we can work together? But if you find a one-off call on the internet, then you can buy it. They're still live. I just don't promote them. I guess I'd be willing to do a one-off call. I'd rather do the system sprint though, because it's not that much more, and you get 2 calls in a month of service. So yeah, bite-sized offers. How can you fracture your offers to give people value while they're still thinking about working with you? That is what I had today. I also think when I sent the email this morning, which I sent 2 emails today, I'm sorry about that. I forgot that I scheduled one. I think they both went out right around the same time. When I sent the email this morning about this event, I talked about mindset. And so it is true, like in my opinion, you can do all the right strategies. And if you're out of alignment and your mindset is not in a good place, it's just too easy to sabotage yourself. I'm not going to say that having a bad mindset means that you'll never make any money, but I am saying that having a bad mindset or having mindset issues around money and your success create a lot of invisible barriers. And there's science behind that. It has to do with your brain, and I write blog posts about it. But in addition to the mindset, then there's your nervous system. And then in addition to your nervous system, there is action. So if you want to get sales as soon as possible, mindset is a really good first step. And then action is a really good next step. Cool. That's all I have. So I will probably end this, and then I'll make it into a blog post, and I can answer questions on my Facebook page. Let me see just one more thing. Cool. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hopefully you had some gin, or you're having gin on the replay, or you're having a cup of water in a fancy glass at the very least. Um, I wrote another post last week, and I think it's really important to know that I just feel like there's a lot of fear in and around my space, around sales and making money. And you can see just like how intense competition is in Facebook ads. Like if you have a Facebook account, which you do if you're watching this, you can just see like how many more ads you're seeing. I have two clients who are Facebook ads managers, and I said costs are just like crazy right now, and you can just feel like this tension. And we felt this in 2020 as well. In 2020 as well, we just felt like I felt a ton of like fear from people. And then there's this moment where I feel a lot of fear, and then and there's times where I feel fear and I just have to kind of ride the wave. In 2020 and right now, I like felt intense fear and anxiety, and then I got coaching, and then I was able to kind of be more in a space of leadership. So at least today, when I'm speaking, I feel more in a space of leadership and less anxiety. But what I want to say is that markets are always changing, and sometimes they make the news and sometimes they don't. And what will never run out is money and ideas. And I know that like that could be a whole other conversation on money being a limited resource versus not. But I choose to believe, and I want to believe, and I work more and more towards believing that money is an unlimited resource. So that I'm building up more and more trust in over time. What I do have total trust in is there's an unlimited amount of ideas. I can always come up with a new idea. And so knowing that there's an unlimited amount of money and there's an unlimited amount of ideas, just know that you can always adapt. But you have to pay attention to what is fun and what feels good and what your purpose is, and then always be moving and shifting. I was going to charge for this workshop. And if you guys open the first email I sent, probably there's 100 of you or more who saw that I was going to charge like $33. And when I was thinking about marketing this free event, I started feeling kind of stressed out. It's like, I don't really want to charge for this. I just want to show up, and I don't want to work that hard to promote it. I want to send a couple emails and do it. And then hopefully people get value out of it. And then that day that I decided to make this event for free, I got like a bunch of unexpected sales from a couple of pages that I didn't know were live. So that to me felt like a confirmation that following my intuition and what's lighting me up is always the way to go. It just felt fun for me to do this for free and not charge for it, and know that I'm going to be able to leverage this however I want to. And I want you guys to know there's no limit on money. There's no limit on ideas. Follow your intuition. Everything will work out. I'm making it sound really simple when I know it's truly not always simple, but those are really good rules to follow. Question: do you work with clients who are successful without Facebook? Yeah, totally. I have clients who will not use Facebook. I have even thought about getting off. No, never thought about getting off Facebook, but I have thought about getting off other platforms. Yeah, you have to have a way to grow an email list. One of my colleague Greg, who I actually already mentioned earlier in this training, he does not use social media at all. And he and I have a lot of shared clients, and many of them don't use social media at all. And I've had clients who do not use social media. I just finished working with someone who does not use social media, and she's still growing her email list by a couple hundred people every month for free. And she has coaching offers and workshops and corporate opportunities, etc. So this training is done, and I'm going to shut off the live. I just want to see if we have any other questions. Well, I'm going to go. If you have any other questions, just comment, and then I'll come back, answer any questions or comments. But thank you guys so much for being here. And Angelique, we've been emailing back and forth, right? So I guess I'll talk to you soon. Maybe you replied to an email and I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'll see you guys around in the group. We have another training next week. So go to AllisonReeves.co/workshop. This training was just like a live on Facebook, but I do workshops every single month where I do live coaching at the end. And so make sure to register for the next one. It's coming up on April 13th. And if you're watching the replay, these are always evergreen. Just go to AllisonReeves.co/workshop and find the next one. Thank you guys for being here. And you're welcome to everyone who said thank you. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Okay, bye.